Good evening, everyone. This is Pastor C, and I am back with day three of our 27 days of fire. And I want you to come on in, tag somebody, a family, a friend, me- um, another seller cycle breaker, but tag somebody to come on in and join us because we are on day three of 27 days of fire, the road to 67. And I am so excited about what God is doing in and on this journey. Listen, this is not just a countdown to my birthday. April 27th is my birthday, but this is a release. This is me taking 66 years of life, the lessons, the growth, the healing, the fire, and pouring it out in real time because I made up in my mind that I'm not going to keep what God taught me to myself. All right. If I went through it, if I learned from it, if God brought me through it, then somebody else should be able to grow from it too. And can I tell you something? Some of the things that I'm sharing on these 27 days, this 20, 24 days now, I didn't even realize how deep they were until I sat still long enough to really, really reflect on them. And that's what this journey is all about: reflection, revelation, and even realignment. Because the fire in our lives, when it's in God's hands, and I do put emphasis on when it's in God's hands, it doesn't destroy us, it develops us. So every single day, I'm coming on here with something real, something honest, something that's going to make you think and maybe even see yourself differently. So if you've been walking with me on this journey for these past 2 days. This is the third. I want to thank you. And if you're just joining in, then welcome. But either way, don't just watch this journey. I want you to walk with me and experience the things that I experienced and learn from them. So listen, I want to take you a little further in my journey. I was going to do this chronologically, and I said, you know what, that's boring. Let me just kind of jump around as God puts things in my, in my heart, reminds me of things that happened over these past 66 years, because we're leading up to 67, right? April 27th. Get that date in your head. April 27th. April 27th. That's Pastor C's birthday, right? So this is day three of the 27 days of fire, the road to 67. And I want to share something that happened to me that taught me a lesson I didn't even realize I was learning at the time. So you see, my life shifted. It really shifted when I was adopted by my dad, my biological father, and what I call my God-given mom. And I call her that because she was and is the mother figure that I needed and so much more. I mean, God just blew up the spot when he brought her in my life. My life opened up in ways it never had before. I was afforded opportunities and experiences and activities that I probably would have never had if I had remained in foster care. Ward of the Courts. That's right. The county, Dauphin County Ward of the Courts was my mother and my father, right? They spoke for me. But anyway, my life shifted, and here I am in Martinsburg, West Virginia. And I remember being in middle school and I wanted to join the band. Now, listen, I didn't want to just play any instrument. I wanted to play the trumpet. It was just something about that instrument. The sound of the instrument, it commanded attention. It was strong, bold, and confident. Everything that I wanted to be at that age. And I said, that's what I want to play. So I showed up in class. And when the teacher asked what instrument I wanted, I said, I want to play a trumpet. And the whole class did something I did not expect. They busted out in this hilarious laughter. And in that moment, I'm like shocked. I didn't understand why they were laughing. I didn't know that during that time, girls didn't play a trumpet. So, of course, I'm looking around the room and I saw, in that moment, just seemed like it happened so quick, but I saw the other girls and they were playing piccolos or flutes or even saxophones. And I don't even remember thinking it all the way through, but somehow in that second, I changed my answer and I said, no, I want to play a flute. I want to play a flute. So here we are after a few classes, because before you actually, start playing, you have to learn the technical parts of the instrument that you're playing. You have to learn how to hold it. You have to learn how to blow in it, how to get the air to pass through, and how to get the keys moving, so that you get specific sounds. I mean, we had to go through all the technical information. So after a few classes of doing that, it was time for us to get our beginner books, right? With all the songs and all that kind of stuff. And I was so excited. I was so excited because I'm thinking, okay, now I'm really about to learn how to play this instrument. But when I opened my book, something wasn't right. I mean, after the introduction, every page was just a repeat of the same 6 or 7 pages over and over again. And I remember raising my hand because I was about to tell the teacher something is wrong with my book, and they were distracted and they didn't quite see me raise my hand. But in that same moment, I had a flashback. I mean, I guess you'd call it PTSD, right? I had a flashback to the laughter of how the whole class just broke out laughing at me when I said I wanted to play a trumpet. So I slowly put my hand back down. So instead of speaking up, I adjusted and I adapted. Let me tell you, I taught myself how to play that flute by ear. And I got so good at it, so good that I earned first seat in the band or first position in the band and second seat in my orchestra for school. Everything looked like it was working. Everything looked like success. Whew, until we went to state competition. Now, I had my seat in my band, I had my seat in the orchestra, but this was different. I didn't know I had to try out for a seat. I was selected because I was second seat in my school orchestra and first position in my band. That's the reason why I was selected. But I had no idea that I had to try out for a seat in the state orchestra. And when I got there and I sit there ready to start, they put sheet music in front of me and said play. And that's when it hit me. Guess what? I couldn't read. I couldn't read a single note. And let me tell you what the fire revealed in that moment. I had learned how to perform without ever learning how to process. Okay. I had figured out how to make it work without addressing what was missing. This shows up in more places than we realize. Like someone who can fix things around the house. I mean, they learn plumbing by watching, by doing, and they can stop a leak, change a pipe, make it work, but they never went to school for it. So when something complex shows up, they don't realize that there are gaps that they never filled. Or maybe it's in finances. I mean, maybe you've learned finances, you've learned how to stretch the money, how to pay bills just in time. I mean, how to survive paycheck to paycheck, and you make it work. But nobody ever taught you how to build wealth, how to invest, how to manage money with strategy. So, in essence, you're functioning, but you're still missing some pertinent information. And I think about this even in relationships because you may know how to love people. Like you show up, you give, you support, you've learned how to keep the peace. But nobody taught you about establishing boundaries. Nobody taught you how to communicate your needs. So, yeah, you're performing in the relationship, but you're not processing what you actually feel. That's deep, right? Well, let me go deeper, okay? How about even in church? In church, we know how to serve, we know how to shout, we know how to say amen, right? And you learn how to move in the environment, but nobody teaches you how to process your healing, how to deal with your wounds, how to grow spiritually beyond the routine. And that's what I mean when I say I had to learn with that flute. I had learned how to perform without ever learning how to process. I had figured out how to make it work, but I had never addressed what was missing from that experience. And I don't think I'm alone. I believe that a lot of us have done the same thing. We've learned how to survive in situations. We've learned how to adjust. We've learned how to function. And from the outside, it looks like we're doing well. But underneath, there are still gaps. There are still areas we never spoke up about, areas that we never addressed, and areas that we were never healed in because somewhere along the way, something made us feel like it wasn't safe to raise our hand. That's deep, right? And the fire revealed it, right? The fire of the experience, the trauma, the drama, the PTSD of the experience, it revealed it. And it, just like with me, it wasn't to embarrass me, but to show me that there was more I needed to learn. Because again, my favorite scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, it still stands. God had a plan for me, not just to perform, but to be fully prepared. And that's the lesson, that I learned from my experience looking back, bringing you up to where I am today. You can't just celebrate how far you've come, right? And ignore what still needs to be developed. I'll say it again. You can't just celebrate how far you come and ignore what still needs to be developed, because what you avoid addressing will eventually meet you on a bigger stage, right? So, how do you feel from that? How do you feel? How do you grow? How do you heal from that? Well, you go back, not in shame, but in strength. You give yourself permission to learn what you missed, to ask the questions you didn't ask before, to develop the areas you had to skip just to survive. Because you're not behind, you just adapted early. But now you have the opportunity to become whole. And I'll say it again, you have the opportunity to become whole. So if this spoke to you, my experience, my sharing about my flute experience and how I brought it into present day, if that really touched you today, I want you to drop some fire in the comments, because growth means we're willing to go back, and not just go back, but to get what we missed. All right. So this is day 3 of 27 days of fire, the road to 67. And I'm going to see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, same bat channel. Okay. Because you're not just here to perform, you're here to be prepared. And I'm so grateful and honored to have this opportunity to go back in history, on this 27 days of fire on the road to 67, April 27th, my birthday. And don't forget, I share with you all a book every so often. I'm going to share with you books that I have, things that I've written as they apply, to now. And I'll tell you again, Catch the Wave is that book. All right. And I shared it on yesterday. You can get the link to it in the show notes, and I'll drop that in the show notes. And just jump over there and click on that link and get that package, Catch the Wave. It's going to help you to not to go back and to catch the wave of your now, to hear God and to help you move into what he's saying for you to do today. Okay. Sometimes we have to go back and ask questions and reevaluate some things, but ultimately God is moving, and he's moving in your life right now. So get the Catch the Wave packet. You get 3 things in this packet. You get a book that I will sign personally with your name and a special message from me. You get a devotional that comes with the book, and 6 YouTube videos that you get along with this. So this is a great package, and it's going to fire you up, right? Even as you go through the 27 days of fire, it's going to fire you up to do everything that God has called you to do. So look, I'm going to be back tomorrow with day 4 of the 27 days of fire, the road to 67. And I'm excited that you're with me. Look, if you played an instrument in high school, can you drop in the chat what you played? I'm kind of interested to hear what you played. I don't think I was out there by myself. So if you played an instrument, drop it in the chat. Let's have some conversation. Let's get involved. It is not just my celebration, but we're celebrating your growth too. So this is Pastor C, your breakthrough transformational coach, your sister and your friend. And I'll be back tomorrow with day 4 of this journey. God bless you. And thank you so much for tuning in. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.